Hello everyone, this is Jacqueline JW Van Minimal. I am coming to you from my community garden, and I have to say up front, I am not feeling well. I clench my teeth when I go to sleep. Like if I'm really asleep, I've had insomnia like all my life, and if I'm really sleeping, then I clench my teeth and I did something and damaged my jaw or whatever. If it keeps giving me problems, I'm gonna have to go to the doctor or something, but so that's full disclosure there. The other thing is I can't see what I'm filming because for some reason this phone, which I bought two of them at the same time straight out, they had a deal. One is for my job, my business, and one is for my nonprofit. And when I bought the phones, they were operating fine. In fact, they're supposedly halfway decent phones. And this one, immediately after the warranty wore out, it started acting goofy. So it can't hold any apps. The apps they're there, but they don't operate for some reason. So I can get YouTube and Facebook and search engines and stuff like that, but I can't use any of the apps. So because I can't use any of the apps, I have a lot more memory on this phone. So I use this one to videotape and, take photos and things like that. So that memory is being used. So right now, today, I noticed this the other day, but I did pay attention that I was trying to, my phone, I'm here at the garden. My camera, when I turn it horizontal, I think it's horizontal, when it's straight up, it shows me what I'm doing. But if I turn it landscape to video, it's completely dark. So I don't know what I'm looking at right now. One thing I know is I just tried it. I videotaped sort of another video before this one. I erased it, but it came out fine. It's just that while I'm videotaping, I can't see anything. So what I was talking about, first of all, is my face is swelled up. I just don't feel well. But I'm at the community garden, and you guys have been here before with me. So I'm going to show you my plots. I have a couple of plots, and hopefully you can see it okay, just based on the fact that, okay, so there is my plot. I've had it for about 4 weeks. There's basically greens in there, greens, cabbage. When I say greens, it's some kale and spinach, cabbage, mostly green stuff. I got a little basil, some tomatoes. They seem to be growing slow because everybody else's tomatoes seem to be doing pretty well. And then this little plot right here, if you can see it, I can't see anything. This is my grandson's plot. He has some pole beans in there. I just threw that oregano in there that a neighbor gave me, and he said it was drying out because I didn't come to the garden. So I just planted it to see what will happen, and I just planted that. I think it might be rosemary. I'm not sure. And then I also encumbered this pot here because I'll show you why in a minute. But I have this plot. I have some tomatillo, sage, strawberries, and then there's some beans, the same beans that my grandson has. Some lemon thyme. That's what's over in his, lemon thyme. And then I put some seeds there. I think it's oregano. I'm not sure. Okay. Sorry about the videotape. The reason I have those little plots is because this one here was a hot mess. And me and my grandson cleared it out. I mean, it was just a little jungle. And I cleared it out and made it like this. And then a neighbor told the volunteer guy, they suddenly wanted it after I did all the work in it. So it wasn't a big deal, but the whole point was that they only took it after I cleared it out. So for him feeling bad about that, he had that pot. He was like, oh, use the pot. And then he built this was a little ratty looking plot, a 3x3. And he put it together for me to put some stuff in because he was feeling bad that he promised some person who hasn't even planted in the garden yet this plot that I took the time to clear out. Whoever it was bought the wood, and they haven't stepped 1 foot into the garden. And I keep pulling the weeds. Let me see if I can show it to you. I keep pulling the weeds out so it doesn't get overwrought again like it was before. So that's what's happening. I am here at our community garden. It's coming along. I do see quite a few people doing what they're supposed to do. You know, a couple of weeks ago, this garden wasn't that beautiful, you know. There was nothing growing, but this lady here, if you could see it, she said she can't, her thumb is very brown. And she can't have plants do anything to save her life, but her tomato plant already has a tomato on it. I don't understand that. My tomato plants are just bare. And then this is supposed to be a flower garden. I don't know if you guys can see that. And this is supposed to be a flower garden because it's the entryway. If you can see the entryway to the garden. Again, I don't know what I'm looking at here because it's so dark. But that's the entryway to the garden. And it's been here. I mentioned it before when I was here. That we started it, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And I think, you know, it was having a lot of momentum in the beginning, and then it kind of went downhill. And I think last year people started trying to get it back in order. And then this year I'm volunteering, and people are really, really trying to make a difference with the gardening, especially since, you know, we were kind of sequestered for a long time in our houses. So I think people just really wanted to find something to do with their time. So I think a lot of people are utilizing their gardens and working in their gardens just to be outside. I get here about 3 times a week. I got my 6-year-old grandson. That's his plot I show you. And I pay him $2 a week to help garden. And he's a 6-year-old. So his attention is all over the place. So we weed. We won't have a lot to do this Saturday, actually. But the one little garden I showed you where it's a newer bed, a new raised bed, he helped the gentleman, sorry about that, he helped the gentleman create that little box for the garden, and he really enjoyed working with the power tools and creating that box. When it was time for him to help me plant the seeds and weed the garden, his attention was nowhere. And he did help me clear out the other bed. Like he liked to rake, and even that he does it like a 6-year-old. But I still want him to get the full exposure of working the garden. So he works once a week on Saturday for an hour or 2, depending on what his mom got going on and what I have going on. So that's our garden, and I will definitely be keeping you guys updated on it. If you can see behind me, this is our little community space. We have this green space. I've showed it to you before. We are getting ready to plant. I'm going to turn this way so you can see. Along the fence, the gentleman who's like the main volunteer, we're getting ready to plant some either squash or oregano or something that'll climb up those, that climbs up the fence. So we're doing that soon. I haven't been working on it, to be honest. If I see him on Saturday, I will. And we have our little cistern, if you can see that, with the roof. That's how we water our plants. And we still have a good piece of land behind us. And I think that, I think my hair was in the way, but I think that I want, maybe not this year, next year maybe, I want to create some other activated space in the corner, and for us to utilize it more. And it could be a true community space, because right now we used to do movie nights in July or August, but because of the situation, I'm not sure if we're going to do movie nights there. I had asked one of the neighborhood association people about us doing like a rummage sale, and those of us, I live in an apartment building, those of us who are in a building, maybe we could like lease, you know, like 10 by 10 space and do our rummage here at the garden, or the green space. So we'll see what happens, but I want to spend as much time outside as possible, particularly since the weather is going to be the way I like it, upper 70s and 80s, which is my jam. I love hot weather, and we barely get it. We get it a few months out the year, and then the rest of it is you got to wear a jacket. So that's all for today. I want to thank you guys for joining me. It's good to see you. Don't forget to give me some comments, like my page, subscribe, and share it. Jacqueline, JW Van Minimal. I will see you on the other side.